Welcome to Bryer's CD Showcase. I am Bryer and welcome back to another video. And by the time this video comes out, it's December 1st, and therefore the holiday season has finally begun. And as you can see, the sweater is back. And I'm going to be wearing this all month, so get used to it. But I'm also not going to turn on the lights because I don't want to waste the battery. But anyhow, besides all that, not only is it the first of the month, it's also that time where I go through all the CDs I have bought throughout the month of November, and even the thumbnail's getting a little festive, if you can see. So kind of nice there, a little touch there. But here we go. So I did a community post and I asked, how many albums do you think I bought this month? And 3 of you responded, and one of you was pretty close. Although there's still a huge gap of the real answer, but you know, it was close enough. So Mickey, if you're watching this, you were the closest one. You guessed 17. Of course, that's not the right answer, but again, you were the closest one. So I'm going to reveal the answer right now. So what I'm going to be showing in this video, I'm going to be showcasing 29 albums. Yep, 29. One of them was gifted to me, so I didn't really buy it. And I do know I have a few more coming in the mail because some of them are imports, so I'm still waiting on them. But I'm just going to go over the ones I have now, just to show them off. So I'm going to get started right now. And for those, before I begin, just quick reminder that this is just where I'm just going to give my initial thoughts on a lot of these albums, because again, I have a lot, so I don't want to spend too much time because this is going to make the video even longer. So now I start. So first up, and it's actually pretty fitting of the time of the year, so I have Celine Dion. These are Special Times. So if you remember way back, I did a video where I went through a whole box of CDs that my uncle gave me, and this CD was part of it. And I didn't pick it out initially because I mean, it was during the summer, so of course I was not in the Christmas mood. But you know, now that it is Christmas time, I thought, you know, why not? So I just went in that box and I just picked it out, and here it is. And I still have the sticker on it because it's one of those stickers that's like almost impossible to move unless you have like one of those scraper things. And yep, I'm too lazy to do it, so it's going to be there for a little bit. So overall, it's pretty much a typical Christmas album. It has some of the classics, you know, Oh Holy Night, Blue Christmas, the title track, Feliz Navidad. Of course, if you already read the sticker, then one part of this did not age that well, and that's this one right here on the top. So yeah, if you don't know what's going on with R. Kelly, then it's best you don't know. So let's just move on. So that's the first one. So these next 4 I'm going to be talking about all came from Walmart, and I did a community post on this as well, and expressing how shocked I was. I actually bought something from Walmart because I'm at a point where I don't really buy much from Walmart nowadays, because you know, I pretty much have everything I'm interested in. But every so often I'll find something that might interest me, and so these are the 4 I picked out. So first up we have Eagles, Hell Freezes Over. So this is mainly a live album. Of course, the first 4 songs are studio tracks, and probably the most notable one was Love Will Tear Us Apart, which I think was a hit for them. But after the 4 songs, then it's just a live album of the reunion that they did in the 90s, and I believe I actually have a DVD copy of the concert. I have no idea where it is, but I know I've seen it somewhere. So maybe I'll try to find it one day, but I'm just stuck with this for right now. But you know, it's pretty good for what it is. Again, this is Eagles in the 90s, so they play a lot of the big hits. You know, You Still Get Your Hotel California, I Can't Tell You Why, Take It Easy, Desperado. Some of the typical songs, but still, I mainly got it for the studio tracks because I actually do have a soft spot for Love Will Keep Us Alive. I think that's a nice little love song, I think. I'm pretty sure some Eagles fans kind of find it a bit sappy, but you know, I'm a sucker for sap. So, yep, that's Hell Freezes Over by Eagles. Next up, I did get a greatest hits, and this is a pretty well-known one. This is Elvis, 30 #1 hits. Now, this is not the new version. The new version has more songs, but I just went for the standard one. I don't think I'll need some of those extra tracks. It just has all the 30 I really care about. You know, Jailhouse Rock, Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, Suspicious Mind. Suspicious Minds. Can't Help Falling in Love. Again, some of the typical Elvis songs, but those are the ones I usually listen to mainly. But you know, still good to have some Elvis in the collection. Next, we have Michael Jackson, and here we got Thriller. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, Bryer, don't you already own a copy of Thriller? Well, you'd be correct. So here is my old copy. This was used, by the way. And for a long time, I was never really happy with this one because it's kind of an old issue of it, and the audio quality wasn't that good. It's pretty quiet, and so I decided to go for a more newer copy. And here, this is the new one. You can kind of see the difference in terms of the condition of it. But yep, this one is way better. Everything sounds a lot more, much louder, much clearer now. So I'm very happy to have this one. I'll still keep this around, but it'll probably be used for spare parts sometime down the line. So yep, this will still have some uses. But I'm happy to have a new copy of Thriller. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about Thriller. We all know it. Some of the big hits of the 80s are on here. I mean, has Beat It, one of my favorite songs of all time. So, yep, there we go. I'm probably gonna sneeze. Hold on. Forgive me if that was very loud in the mic. So apologies for that. But anyhow, bless me. Let's keep on moving. Put that to the side. All right, moving on. We got Def Leppard, and I bought their latest album that they released earlier this year. This is called Diamond Star Halos. Pretty interesting album cover. So I initially had zero interest on getting this one because I've always heard that a lot of modern Def Leppard is not that great, and you know, I decided, you know, why not? It's there. I might as well give it a go. And my thoughts on it, it's okay. You know, I didn't hate it. It's fine. I mean, there's some good songs on it. I like the first song. I like the opening track, Take What You Want. And then it kind of goes, then the next three songs I could give or take. I wasn't really that big into Kick. That was like a single. Didn't really care much for that one. I liked Liquid Dust. I thought that was okay. What else? Lifeless was not bad, and I think it ends on a good song. I really enjoyed From Here for Eternity. I think that was a good closing track. But yeah, overall it's fine. It's okay. Definitely not as like, I don't think Def Leppard can ever capture the stuff they did in the 80s. I think that's long past them. And it's funny because when it comes to reviews, I hear some people compare it to like, oh my god, this is Def Leppard return to form. Oh my god, it sounds just as good as the 80s. And I listen to this and I'm like, really? I feel like the bar has been set so low that anything that resembles like old Def Leppard, people are going to hail this as a masterpiece. Well, maybe not that far, but you get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's fine. And I'm glad I got it just to see how Def Leppard are going today. So yeah, it's fine. Alright, so that's all the Walmart purchases I got. So now let's get into the stuff that I actually had to order from Amazon, and one that was given to me. So, first up, this one goes out to Jason the Old Millennial once again, because if you go to his channel, he does a whole series where he's ranking his top 100 favorite albums of all time, and this one was mentioned, and it was the perfect opportunity to actually sit down and give this band a fair shot, because I only knew the hits, but I never really dove deep into any album. And this one is Oasis with their second album, What's the Story? Morning Glory. So yeah, this is like I said, it's the second album. If you open it up, there's the band there. So of course I knew the hits. I knew Wonderwall. I mean, who doesn't know Wonderwall? And I knew Don't Look Back in Anger. And that was literally it. But yeah, I listened to this album and I really enjoyed it. It was pretty good. A bit loud, but I was kind of warned that. I guess I was kind of warned that going into it, but still, it was kind of like, whoa, Jesus, geez. Like, tone it down a bit, but still. Hello, great opening track. Roll With It. Hey You. There's a couple of those untitled things I could do without, kind of don't know why they're there. But other than that, like pretty much every song on here I enjoyed. Cast No Shadow, of course, Champagne, Supernova, great closing track. But yeah, great one. I definitely will probably check more of them out at some point. So good, I like this one. Next, we have Neil Young. It's been a long time since I have something from Neil Young, and here we have, I can't remember if this is his second or third album, but it's one of his most famous ones. We have After the Gold Rush, and this is a 50th anniversary edition, I believe. It comes in this little mini LP replica. Just flip it over. We open it up. Ooh, I feel like something's gonna come out there, but we're good. Nice little picture of Neil there. Oh boy, I think something slid. Now it's keeping closed. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. But yeah, I have Harvest, and is that all I have by Neil Young? I can't remember, but I need to look again, but sorry if I'm just checking. It's not that far back. Yeah, that's all Neil. Yeah, all I have is Harvest. So, but yeah, it's good to have some more Neil Young, and this is another great album. I mean, I totally get why this is like considered one of his best. Lots of great songs. Tell Me Why, After the Gold Rush, Only Love Can Break Your Heart. That's a great song. Southern Man, Oh Lonesome Me, Cripple Creek Ferry. Yeah, overall, solid album. Very glad I have this one in the collection. All right, so next up, these next two are by the same artist, and yep, I unboxed this artist in the previous video not that long ago, and I listened to the album, and I was immediately in love with it. I absolutely loved it. And the album I'm talking about is Weyes Blood, Titanic Rising. So again, I unboxed it not that long ago. This was released in 2019, and I love this album. There's just so many. I was just so blown away. I was taken aback, actually. I wasn't expecting to like it as much. So this is kind of almost has almost a retro 70s pop sound, but still has like a more modern, almost indie sounding, indie pop, indie rock sound to it. And it works really well, and I really love her vocals. They definitely have a Karen Carpenter feel to her vocals, and maybe a little bit Amy Mann as well, but I mainly get a lot of Karen Carpenter from this one. So if you like Karen Carpenter as a singer, you might enjoy her vocals here. There's just so many great songs on here. Like, sadly, this does not tell me any of the track listing, but I'm not really good with song titles off the bat, but top to bottom, there's just some killer songs on here. So I really recommend you check this out. You might be surprised on how much you'll enjoy this one. So go check it out. But of course, I'm not done talking about Weyes Blood, because I was just so in love with this album. I went out and I decided to get another one of her albums, and this is actually her most recent album. This came out not that long ago, like I think a few weeks ago actually. So here it is. This one's called And in the Darkness Hearts Aglow, and here it is. Look, looking good on the cover. And then you have the back. Again, even the back looks like you'd see it on an old 70s vinyl, if you catch my drift. And if you open it up, again, you have her on a horse. This is also a really good album. If you enjoy this one, then you'll probably enjoy this one as well. I will say this one is still my favorite, but this one is still very good. This one actually has track listing, so thank God for that. Love the first song. It's Not Just Me, It's Everybody. Children of the Empire is a great song. I think that might be my favorite one. I'm kind of surprised that wasn't a single. Grapevine. Let's see. God Turns Me Into a Flower. That's a pretty good one. I also really love Twin Flame. Yeah, Twin Flame was the one, because Twin Flame has kind of like has like a drum machine intro that kind of reminds me of In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. I hope that's the right song I'm talking about, but that's another good one. But yeah, this is still a great album. Pretty much get both of these if you can. Absolutely spectacular stuff. So yeah, that's Weyes Blood. Alright, so before I continue, let me quickly check if I'm still recording, because, you know, don't want to do all this talking and realize I was not recording. At this point, I might need to stop, maybe continue. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel. I'm going to try and see if I can do this all in one go. I think I'm doing pretty well. So next, I'm going to talk about The Who. Now, The Who, I've been through a huge Who kick lately, and it really comes down to that live stream I did with Garrett and Nick not that long ago. That was such a great live stream we did, just going through all the Who albums, and I wanted to buy as many Who albums I can for that live stream. Sadly, only one of them came before then, but still. So the first one I'm going to show is this one, and if you saw my more recent video, you saw me unbox this before. We have The Who, Sings My Generation. Of course, this is the American debut for them. The UK is just slightly different. The track listing has some slight changes, and the UK version didn't have Instant Party. I think the UK had a Bo Diddley cover on it. Those are like the only differences there, but still it's pretty much the same for the most part, and it still sounds very good. I don't know when this particular CD issue came out, but it looks pretty old, but I think it still sounds very good. Opening it up, this is what it looks like inside. Very standard. And then I'll kind of explain my thoughts on the album real quick, but if you want my more in-depth, please go check out that live stream on Garrett's channel, SoundLab Studios. And make it quick, it's a solid debut. Of course, we all know The Who would do way better moving forward, but this is still a solid start. You know, it's very R&B and blues heavy, which is pretty typical for a new band to just sing a lot of songs that they were inspired by. But there's still some great standout songs. Of course, it has My Generation. I mean, come on, who doesn't love My Generation? And then The Kids Are All Right's another pretty big song on here. Out on the Streets is a pretty good opening track. The Good One's Gone, Much Too Much. The Ox is a good instrumental. I will say, I know Garrett and Nick really like this song, but I re-listened to this album preparing for this video, and I still am not a fan of La 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 Lies. I don't know, that's kind of the most generic 60s sounding song to me. I don't know. It's okay though. But yeah, that's the debut. And I guess I should mention this really quickly, but Garrett also sent me this thing, this beauty right here. Of course, The Who on the Who's Next on vinyl here. Again, looks very good, and I'm gonna have this kind of on display. I don't know, for now I'm just gonna put it behind me, but again, still nice to have. So putting it back, come on. I'm in a very uncomfortable position. There we go. All right, moving on. So still on the topic of The Who. This one did show up on time for that live stream. We have The Who Sell Out. Very good album. I think I had this pretty high, I believe. Really enjoyed this one. Kind of like their first concept album in a sense. Just poking fun of all the different ads. Of course, you have Heinz beans on this, some deodorant. This is a 2 CD pack, by the way. Has both mono and stereo. Let's see what else is there. There's a lot. I mean, this has I Can See for Miles, which was the big hit on here. Armenia City in the Sky is a great opening track. Marianne with the Shaky Hand. Odorono. Sorry, Tattoo is another good one. I really enjoy that one. But yeah, very great album. Really enjoy this one. Another one, I definitely consider this one their best. Okay, I also went out and got Quadrophenia. They're a second rock opera after Tommy. And I had this also pretty high as well. Very good. I absolutely love this album. I actually might be controversial. I don't know if this is controversial, but I actually prefer this one more than Tommy, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, terrific album. The Real Me, just John Entwistle going crazy on the bass as usual. Cut My Hair, The Punk and The Godfather, Helpless Dancer, Bellboy. And of course it finishes out with Love Reign Over Me. Terrific closing track. One of Daltrey's best vocal performances, I believe. Okay, and then my last Who album that I got is this one. The Who by Numbers. So this is the follow-up to Quadrophenia. And kind of a spoiler on that live stream, but I know Nick and Garrett kind of ranked it pretty low. But I had it pretty high because I actually really enjoy this album, probably more than most people. And you know, I kind of understand because you know this was the follow up to Quadrophenia, and prior to Quadrophenia they did Who's Next, they did Tommy, they did the Who Sell Out. So obviously by the time they had to follow up Quadrophenia, I think it was a matter of time before they would just do a more standard album. But even that said, I still think this is a good album. There's still some great songs. Slip Kid is a great opening track. That's a weird title to say. However Much I Booze, that's also a good song. And you know, I like Squeeze Box. It's kind of stupid, but hey, it's still a good song. I enjoy it. Dreamin' from the Waist, Imagine a Man. I pretty much love every song on here. Of course, my favorite song on here is definitely Blue, Red, and Gray. I'm going to be real. I nearly cried listening to that song. It's just a beautiful song. Just Pete on the ukulele and you have John Entwistle on the horns. Absolutely terrific. Yeah, I think this is a great album. Many Who fans might disagree with me, but I don't care. I love this album. Alright, so let's do this. We've been recording this one for a bit, so I'm going to cut and then I'm going to continue. So, cutting right now. Okay, we're back. The reason why I decided to cut is because it will make it easier to export the footage from my phone to the computer, so that way it doesn't take forever. So anyhow, let's keep moving. We're actually, I guess we're over halfway, I think. So next up, we're going to talk about some Santana. So this is their second album. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Abraxas? I hope I said that right. But yeah, this is their second album. And this is still a very good album. I think this is actually, I prefer this more than the debut, which I do own. Singing Winds, Crying Beasts, pretty good opening track, kind of sets the mood. And then it goes into probably the most well-known song on here, which is Black Magic Woman / Gypsy Queen. Great song, great cover of Fleetwood Mac. Then it goes to Oi Como Va. That's a great one. That's another one of their more well-known songs. I really enjoy the groove on that one. Innocent at Neshabar. Sorry, my pronunciation is just all over the place. Mother's Daughter. Hope You're Feeling Better. Yeah, another solid album from Santana. Of course, great guitar work as usual. Okay, after that, let's get to some metal. We got Motorhead with Ace of Spades. I finally have a Motorhead album in the collection now. It's been too long. Yeah, this is probably like most people's introduction to Motorhead. Again, it has the title track, which is a great song, and I enjoyed every song on here. It's heavy. Again, it has kind of a little bit of a punkish edge to it, but still, I would consider it metal. I know Lemmy doesn't consider Motorhead a metal band, but let's be real, they're metal. Yeah, great guitar work, just high energy, great guitar, like I already mentioned the guitar, but it's great stuff, great drumming, and of course Lemmy, great metal bass player. Yeah, love this album. I hope to get more in the future. Alright, so now let's bring it down a bit. Let's go back to something a bit more radio friendly. We have REO Speedwagon, Wheels Are Turning, from 1984. I mean, the sole reason I got this one was just to have Can't Fight This Feeling, which is another one of my favorite songs of all time. It's just a great 80s power ballad. I have fond memories of this song. And you know, the rest of the album is actually pretty good. I like the first song, I Do Wanna Know. What else? Rock and Roll Star. Gotta Feel More. Title track. Yeah, it's a solid album. Yeah, it's kind of really, the singles are kind of the strongest songs on here, but you know, everything else is still pretty good. Next, we have Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Boatman's Call. Again, shout out to Carl Twidle. I hope I said that correctly now. I know last time I tried to say his name, it didn't work out, but Carl Twidle, viewer on the channel, and I guess he got busy, so he's not gonna be watching much videos nowadays. But Carl, hopefully you watch this video, and this goes out to you because you recommended me the song Into My Arms, and I enjoyed that song. So again, that made me want to purchase this album, and I've also unboxed this on the channel as well. And so now, after listening to the whole album, I will say I really enjoyed this one. Again, Nick Cave, pretty cool vocals. A lot of the songs are pretty low, pretty mellow. Nothing very heavy or anything, very piano based, but still pretty good. Lime Tree Arbor, People Ain't No Good, There Is a Kingdom. I will say the second half, I will lose a little interest on the second half, but you know, still very good. If you're a Nick Cave fan, please let me know what other albums I need to check out by him. I know he has a lot of respect in the music community. So yeah, let me know if there's anything else I should check out from Nick Cave. All right, moving on. So this is actually another album that I got after a viewer recommended me a song. Well, didn't really recommend me the song. So this was back when I was doing my top 100 favorite songs series, and so some people were participating. They were naming 10 of their favorite songs on each episode, and one of my viewers, and you know who you are, one of my viewers actually had this particular song, and I didn't listen to every song he listed, but I was just going through a couple, and I stumbled across this particular song. And the song is called You Did Cut Me. And this is from a band called China Crisis. And I heard the song and I was like, I gotta check this out. And I went out and bought it. Here it is. So this is their 1985 album, I think. This is called Flaunt the Imperfection. So here it is. And this is a 2 CD pack. Open it up. So disc 1 is the original album, and disc 2 is a lot of bonus material. So yeah, I have never heard of this band prior. Let me see. So there's pictures here. I think that's 2 of the members. I believe it's mainly consistent of 2 members. I don't know if it's a whole band. Just looking through. Not much to say. I think it's mainly a duo, I think. But yeah, I really enjoy this album. It's just some great, easy listening type of music. It has some synth pop to it, a small bit of jazz into it. And what interested me more about this album was that, little fun fact, this album was actually produced by Walter Becker from Steely Dan. So if you're wondering, does it sound like Steely Dan? Not really. It's very 80s. It still has that synth pop 80s sound to it. So there's only small bits of jazz rock into it, but again, it's not very often. It's only like couple songs and some moments here and there. And there's even a picture of the duo with Walter. So if you can see that there, Walter is just in the front there. Hopefully you see that. So pretty interesting fact. So if you're curious, I recommend you check it out. Again, don't expect it to sound like Steely Dan, but if you just like some good, like mid-80s synth pop, new wave, I think you'll have some great time with this album. Aside from You Did Cut Me, I also really enjoyed every song. Like, there was no bad song on here in my opinion. I enjoyed every single song on this album. So yeah, Flaunt the Imperfection by China Crisis. Check it out. Speaking of Steely Dan, so this calls for a plug-in. So this Sunday, and I already mentioned his name already, but me and Garrett and Nick are going to get back together this Sunday, December 4th. It'll be 2:30 my time, I believe. And we're going to be ranking Steely Dan albums. And we're only going to be including the debut up to Gaucho. And we aren't going to include the 2 later albums that they released in the early 2000s. But yeah, we're just going to cover what people will consider the classic period of Steely Dan. So, and to prepare for it, I already have the majority of the albums here. So they're actually, if you can see, they're on the side there. I haven't put them in the order yet, but I was just waiting on these 2. So these are the last Steely Dan albums I needed to have all the classic albums. So I went and bought Katy Lied. This was 1975. This was their 4th album. Okay, and then I also got Gaucho, which came out in 1980. So I would like to go more in depth on these albums. However, you do have to be there on Sunday. It'll be on Garrett's channel, SoundLab Studios, and there I'll give more of my in-depth thoughts. But to make it brief, I like these quite a bit. That's all you're gonna get. So yeah, good to have more Steely Dan in the collection. So I'm just gonna put them here with the others. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay, let me just check if I'm recording. Okay, cool. I meant to say cool, but it came out weird. Anyhow, next up. So, this next 2 are by the same. Well, one of them is a solo album. The other is when he was a part of his band. So this was inspired by Adam from What the Gym. He did a live stream not that long ago with Rich Strickler and Jason Lenial, and they talked about Tom Petty. And frankly, after I watched that live stream, it made me want to go back and really take a look at Tom Petty. So for the longest time, this was the only Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album I've owned, and that's this one, Into the Great Wide Open. And after I watched that live stream, I went and re-listened to this one because it's been a long time since I did. And I have a newfound appreciation for this album. I always enjoyed it back then, but now I have much more enjoyment from here. And after I got that realization, I decided it's best to get more. It's about that time I should start getting more Tom Petty. So I got one from the Heartbreakers and one of his solo career. So this one I got, Damn the Torpedoes. 1970, I'm trying to remember when this came out, 1978, 79, somewhere around that time. And yeah, another great album. Of course, it has Refugee, one of his well-known songs. And once again, I pretty much enjoyed every song on here. Yeah, I enjoy his voice. The music's very catchy. I like this one. Very good. And I also got one of his solo albums. We have Full Moon Fever. Pretty big album. Of course, it has Free Falling and I Won't Back Down. And then a lot of other great songs on here. Yeah, I enjoyed it. This is another good one. I'm very happy I'm getting to Tom Petty now because, again, he has a lot of people always give him a lot of respect in the rock community, and I totally get it now. Just some great stuff, and I can't remember which song it was, but there's a moment on this album, on the CD issue, where Tom Petty actually speaks to the listener like, hey, this is a CD. You're listening on a CD. If this was a vinyl, you'd be flipping it by now, but you can't. Something like that. I don't actually remember the exact line, the exact phrase, how he put it, but I'm trying to remember what song that was, because that caught me off guard. And I researched it, and yep, that's only on the CD copy. So that's a little tidbit. So if you ever get this album on a CD, be prepared. At some point, you're going to have Tom Petty speak in your ear, telling you that, yeah, you're on a CD, not a vinyl. So yeah, good stuff. All right, we're nearly done. Okay, I'd say these last group of CDs are all going to be Beatles related, because I've also been somewhat in a Beatles kick as well. So first up, I'm going to talk about some solo Beatles albums. So I'm going to talk about Paul McCartney first, and I got 2 by him. And I unboxed this one not that long ago in that same video. We got Ram. Of course, Paul's second solo album. Of course, this was credited to both Paul and Linda. And of course, this is often regarded as probably one of Paul's, if not his, absolute best solo album. And you know, after giving it a listen, I can totally see it. I can totally hear it. I still need to listen to all of his solo albums to actually get a full assessment, but I really enjoy this album. Yeah, some great songs here. Too Many People, great opening track. I like Ram On, Uncle Albert. Probably one of my favorite songs on here is Monkberry Moon Delights. I actually love that song. I love Paul's gritty vocals on it. Kind of a good, catchy, rocking number. Yeah. Backseat of My Car. Right. I totally see what people see in this one. I probably don't have it as of now. I'm not going to say it's the greatest thing I ever heard, but you know, still pretty good. We'll see if it goes up as time goes on. I think I need to listen to it more, but I still think this is a good album. All right, so Jason, again, this is another one of his favorite albums of all time that I wanted to get, and that is his later album, one of his later albums. We have Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. Now, Jason had this pretty high, in his top 30s, I think, and you know, it's in that same format as his other Paul. It has the same format on his other CDs, which is still pretty cool. So let's see. What are my thoughts on this album? So, Jason, I'm sorry, but I prefer this one than this one. I still enjoy it though, but you know, I just don't know, because this was produced by the guy who also produced Radiohead and Beck. And you know, I'm listening to it and I enjoy it. There's some good songs in here. I like Fine Line, How Kind of You, English Tea, Too Much Rain, This Never Happened Before. Yeah, it's a good album, but I just don't love it. I like it, man, I don't love it. I can see why some people would really enjoy this album. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those albums I need to listen to it more, but as of right now, I just like it. Didn't really blow me away, but for what it is, especially during this time in Paul's life, still some good stuff. But yeah, chaos and creation in the backyard. So yeah, it's a good album. It's a good one. So sorry, Jason, for disappointing you. All right, moving on. Next up, let's talk about some John Lennon, because I did purchase two of his solo albums. So first up, we have his first real solo album, because he did those experimental stuff with Yoko, which we're not going to talk about. But we have Plastic Ono Band. Yep, I've wanted this one for a long time. I'm already pretty familiar with it, so I really enjoy this album a lot. Yeah, it's a great one. I mean, this was John just really just digging deep. This was a very personal album. A lot of raw emotion throughout it. Yeah, it's just a very, very interesting listening experience. I enjoy it very much. Mother, God. Let's see what else. Let me just find the track listing on here. Hold On, Working Class Hero. I already mentioned God. Look at Me. My Mummy's Dead. And of course, this particular CD issue actually comes with some bonus tracks that weren't on the album, like Give Peace a Chance, Cold Turkey, and Instant Karma, which is pretty cool. So I actually have those songs on the CD. But yeah, what has not been said about this album, this is often regarded as John's best, and totally understandable. So, Plastic Ono Band by John Lennon. So, moving on, still sticking with John Lennon, I also decided to go out and buy Double Fantasy. So, this is what it looks like. So, this was the last album to have John Lennon. It was the last album that John Lennon released before his death. Yep, and listening to it definitely has some emotional stuff to it, especially that John would die not long after. There's some great songs on here, just like Starting Over, great opening track. And I actually don't mind a lot of the Yoko stuff. Call me crazy, but yeah, some of the Yoko songs I didn't actually mind that much. Aside from Kiss Kiss Kiss, I really don't want to hear Yoko having an orgasm in my ear. But besides that, the other songs that she did are actually not bad. I enjoyed Give Me Something. Let's see, I'm Moving On. Let's see, trying to remember it. Watching the Wheels. So yeah, I think Yoko's done. There's some good Yoko songs on here. Shockingly, I know that she's not for everybody. I don't know. Maybe because I listen to a lot of J-pop, so maybe I'm used to Japanese vocals. But yeah, I don't know. Other great songs on here, of course, Woman, another classic John Lennon track, and of course, there's Beautiful Boy. I mean, that's probably my favorite John Lennon song. But yeah, it's a good album overall. Again, the Yoko stuff may turn you off, but yeah, I think this is a good album for John to go out on. And I know they released Milk and Honey after his death, but yeah, if this was the real last album, this is a good one to go out, I think. Okay, next we got one George Harrison one, and I unboxed this one as well. So some of you might already know, but we got All Things Must Pass. This is the 50th anniversary edition. Yep. It's a great album. I really only knew My Sweet Lord. That was the only song I really knew off here. And listening to the album for the first time, yeah, I totally see why many people would say this is the best of all the Beatles solo albums. Yep, so many great songs on here, like top to bottom. I pretty much enjoyed everything. Even side 4, which is just a lot of those jam songs, those long jam sessions. I enjoyed those as well. Aside from It's Johnny's Birthday, which I get it. It's just like a little thing that George made for John Lennon's birthday, but still, wasn't crazy for that one. Also with I Remember Jeep, that's probably another one that I was kind of like, okay, I kind of want to move on to the next one. But everything else, aside from those 2 tracks, everything else is just fantastic. But yeah, I don't have much else to say, but yeah, All Things Must Pass by George Harrison, spectacular album. And we're almost there. We got 2 more to go. And these 2 are Beatles albums. So I went out and got Revolver, a brand new version, the recent remix. So I didn't buy any of the deluxe editions of it. I just went for just the 2 CD edition because that's pretty much all I'll need. So let me just take this out real quick. So it comes with these, again, a thick booklet. It's a long night. It's been a long night. But yeah, here's the actual case itself. I mean, for a long time, I have owned Revolver before, but as some of you may already know that, let me just see if I can get it out. This is my old copy of Revolver. It's this one here. And as you already know, hopefully some of you know, that this is not the original album. This is a US version of it. And the difference is that the US excludes a couple songs. So this does not have Dr. Robert and Your Bird Can Sing. And it does not have, trying to see which one it is. There's one more song. No. Okay, I'm trying to find it. I think, is that really the only 2? Trying to, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's mainly those 2 songs I remember. But yeah, so yeah, I was pretty disappointed when I got this one because I was like, oh cool, Revolver, that's easy. But then I got home and I looked it up and I was like, oh, I looked it up that I got the US edition. I was like, oh what? Come on, that's like false advertising there. I can see some people seeing this as a collector's, and you know, I'll still keep it. You know, it might be a collector's item, who knows? But yeah, but you know, what has not been said about this album? It's a classic. It was one of their best albums ever. Excuse me. Some people would say this is their absolute best album, and you know, I won't argue with that. It's a absolutely great one. Definitely when they were really starting to experiment and really pushing what rock and pop music was all about. So yeah, great album. I'm sorry if I'm just looking. I keep thinking there's another song that was excluded, but you know, whatever. You get it. So I'll put that to the side. Okay, and then last album to talk about for tonight, and that's this one right here. I have the Beatles, the White Album. So this is the 2018 remix. So it's a 3 CD pack. So you have all this in here. Okay. While I'm here, might as well show my old copy of it, which is right above me. So I'm just gonna reach up and grab them. I've shown these briefly before. So this is it. This was whenever there was a CD, whenever there was an album that had lots of songs, they would literally put 2 CDs in 2 separate cases. So this is a very old issue of it. And yeah, I've had these for a long time, but again, it's kind of typical. I was not satisfied with the sound quality of these 2. So I thought, you know, I think it's about time to finally upgrade. And I went with this one. So again, this is the White Album. Again, this was a big deal when this remix came out. So a lot of you already know what's up with this one. The White Album is another terrific album. It's it's a double album, and so there's tons of songs. And you know, even though there are some songs that aren't great, I think all the great songs outweigh all the bad ones. So it's like no contest. Back in the USSR, I mean, Dear Prudence, Obladi Oblada, love that one. Julia, Helter Skelter, of course, has Revolution Number 9, which kind of become a running gag, but it's just like a what the heck And then it finishes out with Good Night. I love Good Night. That's probably my favorite Ringo song. And you know, there are many other songs I didn't mention, but again, if you're watching this channel, surely you're already familiar with this album. So what can I say that has not been said? So there you have it. That is all the CDs that I have right now. Now, I did mention that there's still some CDs I don't have yet. They're still in the mail. One CD is coming all the way from Germany, so it's going to take a bit for that to come here. So we'll see when that comes. And I believe Garrett, not only, I know he just sent me the vinyl and he sent me the Who Sings My Generation, but I think he's also mentioned he also sent me 3 more CDs. By the time I'm recording this video, they had not shown up yet. So we'll see when those show up. I'm definitely interested to see what other CDs he sent me. So that'll probably be its own video, and same with the Germany CD that's coming in. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you actually stuck around and watched this whole episode, thank you very much. If you did enjoy this, please give it a like, subscribe, comment below your thoughts on this album. And the last thing I'll say before I really leave is that quick announcement, and that is I will not be doing another CD haul for December. I think it's time to take another break from buying for the rest of the year. I need to save my money because, you know, Christmas is coming up. So gotta leave the money alone for right now. Maybe I'll buy it on something else. We'll see. But no CDs, that's for sure. So whenever those CDs come in, those will be the final CDs of 2022. But besides that, I still have plans for the end of the year, so I'll let you know when time is near, and I'll talk more about them. But hopefully you enjoyed the CD haul, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Goodbye for now.